My name is Omni Kitts Ferreira. I am the Director of Education with INELDA, the International End of Life Doula Association. I am also a birth doula, an end of life doula, and a nurse. Some key things that people need at the end of life, although it varies from person to person, no one is a monolith, is a safe place to die, a support network of some sort. And then also, what we hear from folks of all walks of life is just wanting to feel like their needs and desires for end of life are heard and met. We certainly hear that folks do not want to feel pain as they die, but those are some of the key elements of what people ask for at end of life. An end of life doula, which is sometimes called a death doula, as INELDA defines it, is a non medical person who accompanies, educates, and advocates for those and their circle of care who could be doing many different aspects of end of life. So that could include planning for end of life, those who are diagnosed with terminal illness, those who are facing imminent and active death. And then doulas can also show up and support communities and circle of care after they have experienced a sudden death. In general, end of life doulas begin with education around the needs specific to end of life. So, similar to a birth doula, they understand the phases of pre planning, active, dying process, and then after the death. And they listen to the person who is dying. They listen for what they believe is a good death. They listen for their preferences, and then they advocate for those wishes. They can be working with a circle of care, and sometimes they are supporting individuals alone. So those are just some things that they can do, although there are many different ways in which they show up at end of life. When we think about people experiencing homelessness or who have recently experienced homelessness, they are facing their mortality every single day. They have most likely also experienced the sudden death loss of different friends within their communities. And so, based on feedback from people with lived experience, we are hearing that doulas can be helpful in providing education about what resources are available, helping folks access that care. They can also be, end of life doulas can also be integrated into street medicine teams or direct care provider teams. And they will do something different than the medical personnel. They will be able to listen to each person's stories, their lived experience, and provide spaces for them to talk about what has happened to them, what is happening with them. Allow them to really be heard, and to just give them that visibility and that their humanity back. We are also working with different organizations and training direct care providers as end of life doulas so that when they are delivering care, they are centering around the person. They are aware of the unique needs of people experiencing homelessness, and how that affects their care. I think the last thing that I would just invite anyone who's watching this video to consider is to really honor people's humanity. You know, as I have listened to people with lived experience who have experienced homelessness, they just want to be recognized as full living beings. And that continues all the way into death, right? We all want to be recognized as full beings. And so if there's anything you can take from this video, it's just really honoring that in each person. And as we do that in our life, I think that we have the capacity to do that in death.